Hi everyone, Carol here at Oak House Journals, and a big warm welcome from me as always. Thanks so much for joining me today and spending some time with me. Following on from the little mini-series that I did on the self-sealing envelopes or origami letters, one or two of you have asked me if I have any more that I can share. And I do. I have this one. Now, the reason that I didn't include this particular one in the mini-series is because the ones that I showed in the mini-series are ones that are super easy. They're ones that I use all the time here at home or slot into my journals for points of interest or to add interest. Whereas this one, although I like it, it is, I find, a little bit fiddly from time to time when I'm making it. It doesn't always go right, so I certainly have my fingers crossed today. But I do like it because you can do what I've done here. You can put a seal on the back of it and still easily open your letter without disturbing that seal, and it all does open up, trust me. It's just caught there, and if I'm just careful with it, it will open up to a square of paper. So it's really good because you can have that decorative feature in your journals, and it doesn't cause any problems when you want to open it up. It doesn't spoil the look of your letter again when you close it back down again. And why won't that close? That goes down there. See, I tell you, this is, there we go. This is a fiddly little envelope. But there we go. So I thought that I would share this one with you today, and then you can add it to your repertoire and use it as is your want. For me personally, I probably won't use this one that often, but I do like playing with it from time to time. Okay, so basically to start, you need any size piece of paper, providing it's a square. Now, I've got my piece of paper here, and for the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll know straight off that it's not a square, it's a rectangular piece of paper, and this is just a standard A4 sheet of paper here. It's 90 GSM, so it's a nice comfy weight. And I just thought I'd show you a quick trick. If you're like me, too lazy to measure to get an exact square, then the easiest trick is just to take one corner from the short length and just fold it along the long length. Do a score line, or a fold rather. Bring in your guillotine or your preferred cutting method. Mine is always the guillotine, and just slice down that edge, and there you have your square of paper. Now, with this being an A4 sheet of paper, I know from experience that this will give me a square of 21 centimeters or 8¼ inches. Now, don't throw away this piece of paper that you've got left over if you're using a rectangular sheet of paper, because if you remember, this little origami envelope or self-locking letter that I showed is made from a rectangular piece of paper like this. So you could use this offcut to make one of these, or as I'm going to show you in a moment, you could make one of these. Now, these are just the simplest of origami bookmarks. They are really, really easy. They will take you literally seconds to make. This one was made out of the temple paper that I made this little self-sealing envelope out of, and I've just stamped it randomly with some stamps in archival ink. But if you don't stamp it and use the same paper as I've got here, you'll end up with something like that. Now you can leave them exactly like that, and these are fantastic if you're to run up, if you're on holiday and you've got your bookmark or you want to earmark a page, then you can easily run these up in 30 seconds. But you can also easily decorate them. The options for decorating these are endless. So as I say, just keep your offcut of paper or another rectangle of paper handy, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Okay, so we've got our square of paper here, and as I say, mine is 21 by 21, and it will give me an envelope roughly, or a self-sealing letter roughly this size. So doing it that way, you've already got one diagonal fold in your piece of paper, and you want to make sure that you have one on the other side. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now, and I'm just going to bring out my bone folder. Okay, now just open out your piece of paper and fold your four corners into the center. When you've done that, just open out the top flap and the bottom flap, and take this bottom corner here, or this bottom point rather, up to this point up here. So match it up and do a crease. And then turn it round and do exactly the same with this point. Take it up to that point there. Okay, so open your piece up again. Now we take this bottom point again and we come into this crease line here, and again bring it into the center and make a crease like so. And then if you fold that point up, your envelope should look something like that. Okay, so we're not going to leave it like that. That's just so that I can show you what it looks like. What we're going to do now is we're going to open it up, and we're going to take this point back up along this line. So we're going to make a fold, taking that point up to this point here. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to anchor that piece down, make a fold along that crease line like so, and if I hold that up to the camera, you'll see that that point there should meet along that crease line and this point here, this flap here. Okay, so we've done that on one side, so I'm now just going to turn it and do it on the other side. So again, we're taking this point and we're going up to here, folding along that line there, so, or folding up to meet that line there, I should say. Okay, so that is what our envelope looks like now. So what I suggest you do now is you just open it up a little, bring this point back out again, and the creases that you've made on either side here, you just close it up again, and you'll see that it gets to a point where it won't crease anymore, and this little point stands up in the air. So what you want to do is just put a finger on either side of this point here, just to anchor it down, and then take your index fingers and just pull this area open. But what you want to do as well is you want to just, with your thumb, let that point come down, so you'll end up with something looking like that. Okay, let me do that again because it is a little bit fiddly. So we've done our creases and we've closed them down again. Anchor down with your little fingers on either side, and this piece that is sticking up, just let it come down. Put your fingers inside that area, your index fingers inside that area, and just pull out the crease, but let this point come down to this point down here. So this point here comes down to that point there. So here we go. I'm letting it come down, and I'm just helping it down with my thumb. I'm not creasing anything. I'm just helping it down with my thumb, if you can see. And if I move my thumb, you can see that this finger has come out of this area here. So all I've done is I've pushed it down there. I haven't made a crease here, but what we are going to do is we're going to encourage that point, that piece to go in, and we're just going to crease it down. And similarly on the other side, that sticky up point or that flap, we're just going to encourage it to go down. Okay, and I'm creasing that in place. Now our envelope looks like that. Okay, so what we want to do now is open this up, because we want to reverse this fold here and this fold here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up. I'm going to push this point back down again, and then I'm going to let it close up again with my point on the outside. And then you should find that if you just gently manipulate it, you can push these side pieces in. Okay, so I'm just going to push those side pieces in, and you've made those creases, so it should go nicely, and I'm just reinforcing the crease in the direction I want it to go. And there we have it. Okay, so tricky part over, I promise you. What you want to do now is you just want to close up your bottom part again, just to make sure that everything is going to sit nicely. And I'm just giving it a little bit of a burnish, and it looks like that. Okay, so you will see that I have a crease line running all the way along here, and if I lift that up, that's the points of the other corners that I folded in, and this is the piece that we've just folded up, but that crease line matches. So what I'm going to do now is on the flap only, I'm just going to take this area and I'm just going to bend it back until this flips out, and then I'm going to go to that crease line and I'm going to reverse it. Okay, so again, a little bit fiddly, but the creases are there. You've just got to encourage them to reverse, and you will end up with this piece sticking up like that. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to open your flap again, this flap, and we're going to take these two portions, these two flaps, and we're going to fold them out. Now I'm going to do that here, holding it up to the camera. What I'm going to do is, rather than just pull it straight out that way, I'm just going to pull it up and it comes out. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, once it's come out like that, I'm just going to fold it back again on itself, so that now, instead of being tucked in there like that, it's on the top like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on the other side. So grab your point and pull it up, and as you can see, it opens out, and I'm just going to fold this piece down again like that. Okay, and then I'm going to fold my bottom flap back up again, and I'm going to take this flap and bring it to the outside of this flap. Okay, and then the same on this side. I'm going to take my flap, pull it to the outside and close it back down, so that it's now, as you can see, on top of the bottom flap. And we're almost there. Hang in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this portion of the flap and we're going to tuck it behind this piece. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm taking this portion of my flap and I'm going to tuck it behind that. So I'm just lifting that up and tucking it behind like so. And that is what our envelope looks like now. You might have to just carry on just encouraging your folds to lie nice and flat. Okay, so we're looking good. Fingers crossed it's all carrying on and working okay. Now what we want to do is we want to tuck this top portion under here. So as you can see on here, we have a point and we have an area here and here where it meets these diagonals. What you want to do is you want to fold it across those, between those 2 points. Now I find the best way to do that is actually to grab a ruler, just put it on those 2 points and then encourage that flap to come up like so. Use my bone folder and then true to form reverse that fold so that it goes into a nice square. And as you can see, those points that we use to put our crease across will actually meet those diagonal lines there. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take this point here and you want to fold it right down to the bottom, to this center line down here at the bottom. Now you've got a natural crease here, as you can see, and that will come down in front of this square that we've created, but it's not going to hold it in place. So what you need to do is you want to go past that crease, and to do that we need to take that point down to here. So pull your envelope or pull your point down. Actually, I'm going to line mine up on my mat and then I'm just going to pull it down to that center point and encourage that fold with my bone folder. Okay, so it looks like that. Open your flap up and now take that point down the center line to the center of the crease that you've just made. So there's my point coming down to my center, just lining it up, and make another crease. And now bring that edge down and tuck it under this edge here. So just fold it down, lift up that piece, and it goes underneath. And then just encourage again your creases or your folds by burnishing with a bone folder. And you actually do need a bone folder for this one. It's invaluable to make this envelope nice and, or this letter, hold in place. So there we go. That's what it looks like on both sides. And all I've done with my original one is I put a seal on here. Now you can do your wax seal. Well, you don't have to do a wax seal. You could leave it exactly as it is. But if you want to put a wax seal on, then obviously you can pour your wax and make your impression directly onto that centerpiece. So there's our envelope. As I say, this one is not my favorite. It's a little bit fiddly. I always have to think really hard about each step of this one, whereas the others I could just rattle them off quite easily. I suppose if I did this one a lot more I'd find it easier, but it's not particularly hard. I just find it a little bit faffy, so that's why I didn't include it in the original series. But anyway, I hope you liked it. And now let me show you very quickly how you make those tiny little bookmarks. So if you've got your scrap of paper left over, again what you want to do is create a square of paper. So again, I'm just folded mine over, and this time I'm just going to cut it with my scissors. And I've got enough here to make another one if I wanted to. Okay, so you've got your first diagonal fold. Now what you want to do along the folded edge is take the point, go point to point like so, and make a fold. Open it up, and as you can see you've got the folded edge along the top. Now all you do is you take this point here and you fold it down to this one down here. and make a crease, and do the same on the other side and make a crease. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to take the points back up to the top. I'm just going to turn that round. I find it easier to turn it towards me. And you do the same with the other side. Fold it back up to the top. And you have something that looks like that. So there's our folds. If I open it out, you can see. So there's our two folds, folded it back up, and the 2 points are now back at the top. And then we have these two pieces of paper here. One's a complete piece from the back and one's inside. So what you want to do now is you want to take the top piece of paper and you want to take this point and also bring it up to this point here. Now, because you've got a thickness of fold along here, you're going to have to encourage this point to come right up to here. So you're going to have to pull it quite hard to get it up to that point, but it's worth doing, because if you do that, then what you will get is you will get nice corners here and here. So don't be frightened to give it a good pull up to this point here. So this is what it looks like now. You've got that solid piece of paper at the back, or that square at the back, and those two little points have been tucked underneath this piece here. So true to form, now what we want to do is open this up, this top piece of paper up, and you want to tuck it inside. So we're going to tuck it in there, and by doing that we're going to reverse that fold. Now the best way I find to do that is just to open it up like that and then just encourage it to go inside. It's a little bit fiddly, but you can see I've popped it inside. It's not gone quite smoothly, so I'm just going to use my bone folder, and it looks like that now. So if I just open it up, you've got those two now, like that and like that, and then this single piece at the back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these flaps here and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to encourage them to go inside. So again, you just open it up and push them in like so. Okay, just use your bone folder, and it helps to actually burnish well once they're tucked inside. Now what you can do is you can leave it, your little bookmark, like exactly like this, and not do anything else with it, because it will go onto your page like so, and you can have a bigger area of support at the back if you want. But you can also use these as tuck spots. Obviously, I'm sure you've spotted that already. If you put a dab of glue underneath here, then that will adhere to your page, and you have a ready-made tuck spot for under here. And true to form, I haven't got a piece of paper. Let's see if I can find a piece of paper that I can pretend is my tag. There you go. So I could use that as a tuck spot, because that would be anchored to my page, and that could be my tuck spot like so. And then you could decorate on the top here any way that you want. Let's pop that on there. That's better because it's a stronger piece of card. So you could decorate on the top here any way you want, with some lace, with some fussy cut flowers, all sorts of things, whatever you fancied. And similarly on the back, whether this is glued in place or not, you could decorate over the top of that. Or if you were putting a whole page decoration on the reverse side, you could glue over the top of it and hide it completely like that if you wanted to. So that's another option that you can do with these paper clips, not these paper clips, sorry, these bookmarks. But if you want to create a bookmark like the one I showed at the start of the video, then what you need to do is you need to tuck this piece inside here. Now, to do that, it's easy. Just bend over your piece of paper to create a rough fold. So you can either bend it forward over where you fold these pieces in, or you can fold it back on itself like so. It doesn't really matter either way. Just make sure you get nice points at either end, and then do exactly the same as we've done before. Just reverse that fold and tuck that piece of paper inside like so, and again just use your bone folder to encourage it to sit nicely and to go over your crease. And there you have it, a really, really easy bookmark. And as I say, all I did with mine was I just stamped it with some archival ink, but you can leave them plain or you can decorate them, how the fancy takes you. So there we go, everybody, just a couple of little ideas just to really finish off that mini series.